Hey everybody, Fish Tank here. It is January 20th. Can you believe that? 2019. I haven't been in front of the camera in quite a few months. Feels a little different sitting here in front of my house rather than on the trail, but I hope this finds all of you healthy, happy, and well. And before anything, I just want to say thank you so much for all of you out there that are watching my videos of my first 1,200 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail. It was such an epic 2018, and I'm just so humbled and thankful and grateful that I was able to share it with so many of you. I want to also give a shout out to my pretty little wife who's behind the camera. Say hi, Allie.
Hey, hey.
She makes all those videos, so I want to tell her thank you as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a series of 5 or 6 or 7 gear videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break them down. So I just feel I could do a better job if I talk about one particular thing at a time and give a true review of it rather than try to do everything in a 30, 40, 60 minute video. I think I'd end up forgetting stuff or skipping over stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a gear review video of my tent. So keep in mind, I'm not saying the way I went is the absolute best way. I'm sure there's probably better ways out there, but I'm sure there's probably ways out there that aren't quite so good. I'm going to tell you guys and show you guys what worked for me, and like always, I'm going to be real about it. If something didn't work or if I wasn't happy with something, I'm going to tell you. And that way you'll have what I hope you would trust me as an honest review of the products I'll be showing you. So the first thing I'm going to review is the Zpacks Duplex tent. So in a minute, I'm going to set the tent up, set it up here in the front yard, and kind of show you how that goes, and then show you some of the things about the tent that I really liked, some of the things that I didn't like, tell you whether or not I would buy it again, and what tent I'll be using to start the second half of the PCT. Alright everybody, okay, so I just set up my tent. I timed it. It took me about 3.5 minutes. The first time I set this thing up, it probably took me over an hour. Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration there, but not much. You definitely get better with it as you go. Probably maybe 4 times setting it up, and after that you're an expert. Okay, so one thing I do like about this tent, this is a duplex. It's Zpacks' version of the 2-person tent. I could have gone a little bit lighter, or going with something a little bit smaller from the same company, but the nice thing about it is that, you come around here, Allie? The nice thing about this is I was able to get inside this, and I'll hop in here. I was able to get in here and pretty much slip like this, and I'm about 5'11". Oh yeah, Allison's laughing at my sweat rings. You can just edit that out, Allie. Oh, forget it. They've seen me even worse. The nice thing about this, so I'm about 5'11", and I was able to sleep like this, and I was able to have my pack right down there, and then I was able to have this other space right here for just whatever. And with me, usually it was some kind of a snack or Skittles or my water or just something. So the nice thing about a 2-man tent is I was able to have everything inside. Now, I still had space inside these vestibules, which is really nice. So both sides are identical. That's another nice thing about this tent. You can get in and out on either side. And it's cold here in Salt Lake right now, and my nose is dripping, but that's okay. So each side has the mosquito netting up front, but then you can... Were the armpits really that bad?
No.
Oh, okay. So then you can undo these with the mosquito netting up, and you just loosen that. Really simple, really great design. And then you do the same to the other side. This is a tent that it does not stand alone, and you do require 2 trekking poles as your support. And then this cinches up like that. And you can take it one step further. If it's really windy or you want super privacy, you close it like that. Now the nice thing is you're inside the tent. Get that from you, beautiful. You're inside the tent, but you've got this corner vestibule here, as well as the corner vestibule there. Or you can undo it by just doing like that. You don't have to move this stake. Will you hold that, honey? You can undo it, bring that around, unhook it there, and if you want to get a breeze going through it, you roll it up, and this clips right in there like that. This other side will do the same.
The screen just went black. Does that mean that it died?
What's that?
The screen went black.
No, it's still recording, honey.
Okay.
She's great at making videos, but she's kind of a GoPro novice.
Well, I can't see you in the back anymore, so I have no idea if you're even on the camera.
I'm on the camera.
Or if I'm pointing it in the right direction.
Just tap that back screen. Watch that.
Oh, gotcha.
See?
There we go.
She's cute. Okay, so that's what's really nice about this tent. Now, it takes 8 stakes. Only 6 are essential. You could actually go without this one here and the one on the other side. Quite often I went without, and then I just have the 2 corners and the 2 posts. But if it was an extra windy night or it was going to be raining, I hooked up these last 2 just because I had the stakes. Now, the great thing about this material, and I'm not going to get into what it's made out of or what it weighs and this and that. I want to say it's 19 ounces. You guys can get on Zpacks website and you can study all that. I'm just going to tell you in layman's term about the tent. What I don't like about this tent, if you'll get down in here, let me see the camera, baby. So here's what I do not like about this tent. Right down here on both sides where this zips up. So this zips up and goes all the way over to here, and it does the same on the other side. Well, this is where they need to fix something, because that right there started to rip out. I don't know if the camera will show that, but I had to sit here one night as I was trying to fall asleep, break out my sewing kit and sew that. I had to do the same on the other side right there, and I had to do the same right there. It actually started to tear out there. Now, that may be because I was too rough with it, or I just grabbed onto it and started pulling up. Probably should have been just a little more, I don't know, softer, kids' gloves. But again, this did, 1,200 miles of the trail. It got set up probably, 85% of the time I was out on trail, I set up the tent. So these zippers got a lot of use. Here, Allie. That is the only gripe I have about this tent. It sets up pretty quick. It's taut. It's not a flimsy tent. You can get it in several different colors. I went with the camo because the other ones are a little transparent. The original blue, you can actually look at somebody, and if they've got a light on inside, you can see a silhouette of them. The camo was $30 extra, and I think it's just a little bit thicker, so it's like an extra gram or something heavier. But I was into this tent. I want to say the base model's $599, and I think I paid $629 That did not include the poles, it did not include the stakes, and it didn't include... What are you laughing at?
The cat.
Oh. I used to have Rottweilers. Then, now I have a cat, so that's him. Say hi, Jax. So, I really like this tent. I'm going to use this tent for the second half of the trail. Of the full 4 months I was on trail, a little over 4 months, there was twice when I had a hard time trying to find a spot to set it up. I was camping with Hoover and Feinschmecke and Chef, and they both had standalone tents. And we were on in an area that was very, very rocky. And I actually had to hike up trail maybe 200 yards to find a spot that I could get my stakes into the ground. That happened twice. So, you know, there's some advantages or disadvantages to that. The advantages of having a tent that's not a standalone tent is I don't have to carry the internal or external poles, and those weigh. They also take up space in your pack. I'm definitely going to use this tent again. I got nothing really bad to say other than what I already showed you guys. They are spendy. You know, good. This tent right here is $630. Probably $600 and you know, another $10 for the stakes. And depending on what kind of trekking poles you have, you got to add that cost in there too. But it's not a cheap tent, but it's a great tent. It is absolutely 100% waterproof. And this Xylon, or whatever they call it, this stuff is strong. You cannot rip it. 1,200 miles. I don't have a single hole, a single rip, other than the two areas I showed you the sewing, where they probably should have brought the flap out and just put a little bit more in it. And maybe they fixed that by now. I don't know. As far as the company, I got neither good nor bad to say about Zpacks. And if they're watching this, if they ever do watch this, nothing. I'm not, you know, nothing good nor bad. I understand it takes them a while to get the product out. So if you're thinking about a tent like this for an upcoming through hike, give yourself a good 60 days or longer to get this tent. I can't remember how long I waited. I want to say I waited a couple of months, and I bought mine. I want to say I bought mine in like June. And we did have one issue with halfway through the trail. I realized I needed a food bag, and I like the quality of the Zpacks. So Feinschmecke and Chef and I, we actually emailed the company to see if they could rush us 3 food bags on trail if we, you know, wired them the money or Venmo'd them the money, and they were not willing to help us out. So we ended up not buying them on trail. Customer service, not what I would have liked to have seen, but the quality is there. I'm going to buy their food bag now. It's January, and I'm not leaving until, you know, summer, so I'm going to buy the food bag. So, other than that, this was the tent I used at Zpacks Duplex. I loved it. You want to watch? I mean, it withheld some pretty rough weather. Video 15 when I was up above San Jacinto, 70, 80 mile an hour gusts, and this tent stood strong. You can lower this section. You can have it up high, or you can drop it right down to the ground by just adjusting the length of your poles. So if it's going to be really super windy and you're in the desert and there's a lot of dust blowing around, shorten these poles down just a little, and then you'll be able to cinch this up. It'll bring this all the way down to the ground. If it's hot, not so windy, you want to get a breeze going through there, extend these poles up. That will bring this up. And I'm going to loosen this just to show you guys something. It'll bring this up. Then you've got this mosquito netting type stuff to get as a breeze to go through. Then, you know, to tighten it up, you just do one of those again, and it's good to go. So, really like the tent. I'll be using it for the second 1,300 miles of the PCT this summer. I recommend the company, but just don't think they're going to get you anything fast. It takes a long time to get stuff out to. What are you doing, girl? Man, there she is. All right, everybody. So, we were just outside, and it was cold. One thing I want to talk about. Allie, will you hold the camera, please? So one thing I want to talk about are the stakes. I use 2 different kinds of stakes. So I bought these, the MSR Groundhogs, 8 of them. I want to say they're like a couple of bucks a piece. They weren't bad. I think I spent like $16 for all 8. Super, super lightweight, and they were awesome. I found these on Amazon. They're called T&H stakes. As you can see, they're a little bit longer. I want to say that these are 11 inches, and these here are like 8. In the desert, from Campo to roughly Kennedy Meadows, I used these. I figured the flaring on the sides is a little bit longer or wider, and the stake itself is a little bit longer. I figured if I was in the sand of the desert, this would grab a little bit better. And then once I hit Kennedy Meadows, I was dealing more with dirt and the ICRs. I sent those home, and Allison sent me these, which I want to say saved me a couple of ounces. So again, these are on Amazon. They were super cheap. I think I got 10 for $6 or something. Just Amazon and do a search. The TNH model. I don't know if you can see that, if it'll show up. But they've got the same hook for the ripcord, and they've worked out really well. So those are the 2 tent stakes I use. I also, underneath my tent, you can't see that out there, I highly recommend a ground cloth. Those of you that watch the vlog, I can't remember if I talked about this very much, but Young Buck went through several air mattresses. I want to say he went through at least 3, maybe 4. And that was, we separated at mile 900, so I don't know if he went through more. And I don't think he was being any more rough than I was. We were camping in the same area. He had a Zpacks Hexamid, I want to say, can't remember. Basically had the same equipment, but one thing he did not have was that ground cloth, and I think that ground cloth acted as a real good barrier to keep thorns from going through the tent up into the air mattress. So I didn't buy the one that they advertised. I went to a construction site here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I grabbed the foreman one day and I asked him what he would charge me for a 4 by 6 foot piece of Tyvek, and he just cut me one off and he gave it to me. The nice thing about that Tyvek too is it can double as a skirt in real rainy areas, and if it was raining real hard and you didn't have some kind of a waterproof bag system for your pack, put everything in your pack, then you can put that Tyvek on last thing before you zip it up. Anything gets through is going to hit the Tyvek. So. And
you used it as a canopy in the desert when it was hot.
And yes, thank you, Mrs. Fish Tank. And when I was trekking with Maui, and I forget her trail name, Lauren, not Blueberry, I forget, it was a long time ago, Lauren Hikes. When I was with Lauren and stuck on the ground, we used it one day as a canopy. We used the trekking poles, and it was over 100 degrees that day. We were in the Southern California desert, and we needed some kind of shade for a couple hours. So we used my Tyvek, and all 4 of us cuddled up underneath there, and it shaded us from the sun. So great. So there you go. Not saying it's the best tent out there. It's not the worst tent out there. That's what I chose to go with. It worked great for me. I'm super happy with it. Zpacks puts out a very, very, very high quality product that you pay for. And like I said before, don't count on them breaking their back to get you something quick. They work on their time, and maybe that's why the tents are so good. So, thumbs up for the Zpacks. I'll use it again. I'd buy it again. I highly, highly recommend it. So, hope this finds everybody healthy, happy, and well from Salt Lake City, Utah. We're under about 4 months till I get back on the trail. Hope to see you guys later. Fish Tank out.